Namaskar, and a very warm welcome to the third episode of InsPIRE Economic Edge. I'm Devesh Roy, Chairman, Institute for Pioneering Insightful Research Private Limited, InsPIRE, a research and consultancy firm dedicated to economic and climate change policy advocacy. In this episode, I'm going to analyze the Union Budget 2025-26. The budget seeks to balance economic growth and fiscal prudence while propelling India towards its Viksit Bharat or a Developed India 2047 vision. The budget presented amid global economic uncertainty, inflationary pressures, and geopolitical tensions underscores the Indian government's commitment to fiscal consolidation while striving to sustain economic growth. By maintaining a delicate balance between economic stimulus and fiscal prudence, the budget aims to ensure long-term macroeconomic stability while continuing investment in critical sectors. The big question, does this budget address India's structural challenges, or is it an incremental roadmap that fails to break new ground? Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, has described the budget as Viksit Bharat Budget 25-26 empowers every citizen. The budget focuses on four core economic drivers: agriculture for strengthening rural prosperity and rural and food security, MSMEs for empowering small businesses for economic resilience, investment for boosting infrastructure and human capital, and exports for enhancing global competitiveness. Each of these is critical, but does the budget introduce radical reforms or simply build on past policies? Let's dive deeper. Agriculture remains a key priority, and the budget introduces 11 key initiatives. The first is the PM Dhan Dhanya Yojana, which is a transformative initiative targeting 100 low productivity districts in 17 million farmers. Key initiatives include the a focus on irrigation enhancement, high yield seed distribution, and soil health management, which are critical for boosting agricultural resilience. Second, subsidies for micro irrigation and improved seed varieties promote climate resilient farming. And third, AI driven advisory services and digital platforms improve real time decision making for farmers. Some of the critical issues are first is the issue of implementation challenges. Will subsidies and digital interventions effectively reach small and marginal farm holders? Second, infrastructure bottlenecks in the form of cold chains and storage could limit the scheme's effectiveness. Past agricultural reforms have struggled due to last mile connectivity issues and limited market access. However, the scheme addresses this issue by aiming to augment post harvest storage at the panchayat and block level. Third, water conservation policies need regional customization to ensure success in different agroclimatic zones. While the PM Dhan Dhanya Yojana addresses fundamental gaps in agricultural productivity, execution and localized policy adoption will determine its long-term success. But here's the reality check. Post-harvest infrastructure remains weak. If cold storage and logistics are not addressed, increased production may not translate to better incomes. Water conservation strategies need regional customization. A one-size-fits-all policy won't work across diverse agroclimatic zones. Without tackling these fundamental issues, the question is, can India's agriculture sector truly achieve sustainable growth? The Rural Prosperity and Resilience Program is a multi-sectoral initiative aimed at tackling rural underemployment and ensuring sustainable livelihoods. It integrates skilling, investment, and technology to diversify economic opportunities in rural areas. This program could help shift rural youth from agriculture to agri-value chains in the processing, logistics, and retail sectors. The strengths of the program are: first, it expands credit access and crop insurance, critical for financial stability among small farmers. It targets marginalized groups, rural women, young farmers, and landless laborers who are often excluded from mainstream agricultural policies, and is backed by global best practices and multilateral financial support, ensuring policy alignment with international development models. However, critical issues and challenges need to be addressed. First, structural labor market challenges in rural India remain unresolved. Can skilling programs genuinely create viable alternatives to agriculture? Past employment schemes have faced delays and funding gaps. Will this initiative follow a different trajectory? Dependency on state collaboration might slow implementation given the varied governance efficiencies across states. While this initiative takes a holistic approach to rural development, its effectiveness hinges on efficient execution, private sector involvement, and sustained funding mechanisms. The next scheme is the 6-year mission for Atmanirbharta or self-reliance in pulses, which is an import substitution strategy designed to achieve self-sufficiency in key pulses, namely tur, urad, and masoor. The initiative prioritizes stable procurement prices, climate-resilient seed varieties, and improved post-harvest infrastructure. The strengths of the mission are: first, it would reduce import dependence, a long-standing challenge in India's pulse market. Second, guaranteed procurement prices would provide income stability for farmers and encourage greater cultivation area. And third, improved seed varieties and irrigation techniques would enhance productivity and resilience. The critical issues which need to be addressed are: first, how will market distortions be prevented? Price stability mechanisms need transparency. Second, past procurement schemes have struggled with inefficiencies and payment delays. Will government agencies be more effective this time? And third, storage and supply chain issues could limit success, leading to excess production without adequate distribution mechanisms. While reducing import resilience is a strategic priority, effective price and storage management will determine its long-term viability of this mission. Next is the comprehensive program for vegetables and fruits aiming at enhancing market access. The initiative aims to boost fruit and vegetable production through high-yielding varieties, irrigation support, and cold storage infrastructure. The strengths of the program are: first, it would reduce post-harvest losses, a major issue affecting farmer incomes. Second, it would enhance nutritional security, improving food availability. And third, it would encourage value-added processing, creating additional revenue streams. The challenges which need to be addressed are: first, cold storage facilities are historically underutilized, and measures to ensure operational efficiency need to be taken. Second, limited processing industries in rural areas may restrict value addition benefits. And third, perishable commodity volatility poses risks. That is, price fluctuations can make investment in these sectors less attractive. While the initiative provides structural support for horticulture, market-driven interventions and storage infrastructure efficiency remain crucial for success. Next is the creation of Makhana Board in Bihar, which is a targeted approach for niche agricultural products. It underscores the government's focus on regional specialty crops. The board would encourage research and quality enhancement, strengthening Bihar's niche market. It would also improve market linkages, reducing farmer dependency on intermediaries. The critical issues which need to be addressed are: first, the issue is its limited scalability. This approach could be extended to other region-specific crops. Second, ensuring price stability and preventing exploitation by traders remains a concern. The Makhana Board is a step in the right direction, but broader policy integration with other specialty crop sectors would enhance its impact. Next is the National Mission on High-Yielding Seeds for addressing food security amid climate change. With shrinking from farmland and climate uncertainties, the National Mission on High-Yielding Seeds seeks to enhance food security through resilient seed technologies. The mission is expected to boost productivity in limited land areas, ensuring long-term food security. It would also support climate adaptation, an increasingly critical necessity. However, adoption of high-yield seed remain inconsistent due to awareness and affordability issues. There is a need to strengthen the extension system, including encouraging agri-tech startups and the corporate sector to provide extension services under this mission. Further, seed quality regulation challenges and ensuring genuine high yield varieties reach farmers is crucial. While promising, farmers' accessibility and regulatory oversight will define this mission's success. Expansion of aquaculture, modernized fishing infrastructure, and sustainable practices aim to boost fish production and rural income. Fisheries contribute significantly to employment and nutrition security, but overfishing and climate change pose risks. Infrastructure modernization must include robust cold chain logistics to prevent post harvest losses. Critical concerns are: will investment in sustainable fishing be sufficient to counter environmental concerns and market volatility? Policy coherence between the central and state governments will be crucial for smooth execution. The mission for cotton productivity focuses on R&D for high-yielding, pest-resilient, pest-resistant cotton varieties, reducing import dependence and strengthening the textile industry. India has seen declining cotton yield due to climate stress and pest attacks. Enhancing research into extra long staple cotton could reduce reliance on imports, but seed affordability and farmer adoption remain key challenges. Critical concerns are: will the government ensure seamless technology transfer and market linkages to incentivize farmers? Second, without parallel investment in irrigation and soil health, productivity improvements may be limited. The budget has announced the increase in the Kisan credit card loan limit from rupees 3 lakh to rupees 5 lakh, which enhances farmers' access to institutional credit. The scheme, launched in 1998, benefits 77 million farmers with over 740 active accounts and 8.9 trillion in outstanding credit. This move reduces dependence on informal credit sources, enables investment in better seeds, fertilizers, and mechanization, and enhances income, demand, and overall economic growth. To maximize its impact, periodic revisions should be made to account for inflation. Bureaucratic delays must be minimized for efficient dispersal, and AI and digital platforms should be leveraged to streamline loan approvals. The loan limit increase is a welcome step that strengthens rural credit, and its success will depend on effective implementation, periodic updates, and technology integration. A new facility for urea plant in Assam will ensure a steady fertilizer supply in the northeast, lowering costs and enhancing agricultural productivity. Localized production will reduce dependency on long distance fertilizer transport, cutting costs and improving supply chain efficiency. Critical concerns are: how will the government regulate urea pricing to prevent overuse and environmental degradation? Fertilizer subsidy rationalization is necessary to promote balanced nutrient application. The budget has also introduced India Post rural role for leveraging its network for financial inclusion, insurance services, and improved market access for rural producers. India Post can bridge the rural banking gap, particularly in remote areas where traditional financial institutions have limited reach. The critical concerns are: will India Post be adequately digitized to ensure efficient service delivery. Ensuring proper infrastructure, trained personnel, and digital literacy among rural populations will be vital for success. Will these measures announced in the Union budget drive agricultural transformation? The success of these programs will depend on efficient implementation and funding clarity, market linkages and robust supply chains to support productivity increases, and state level cooperation to address regional disparities. The challenges which need to be addressed are overcoming past inefficiencies in procurement, storage, and credit delivery, balancing price stability with competitive market dynamics, and ensuring technological adoption among small and marginal farm holders. Overall, the budget lays a strong foundation, but execution and systemic agricultural reforms will determine whether these measures translate into sustained growth or remain aspirational goals. MSMEs play a critical role in employment generation and economic growth. The budget introduces strategic reforms to address financial bottlenecks, enhance market access, and drive digital transformation. Key MSME reforms announced in the budget are first, strengthening credit access and financial support. Expanded Credit Guarantee Fund enables collateral free loans, reducing financial constraints for MSMEs investing in expansion and technology. Extension of ECLGS provides liquidity to businesses affected by economic disruptions, ensuring resilience against financial instability. Interest subvention for green practices incentivizes sustainability, but its long term effectiveness will depend on accessibility and adoption by smaller firms. The concern is, will these measures adequately address challenges in credit disbursement and financial literacy to ensure responsible fund utilization? Second, encouraging digital transformation and ease of doing business. Unified digital platforms for MSMEs streamlines financial services compliance and market linkages, reducing bureaucratic inefficiencies. Automated tax filing and GST simplification lowers compliance costs, but implementation consistency across states remains a challenge. Adoption of AI, blockchain, and cloud computing enhances competitiveness, though smaller firms may struggle with the technical and financial transition. The question is, how effectively will these digital reforms reach micro enterprises in rural and semi urban areas? Third, enhancing market access and global competitiveness. Expansion of remission of duties and taxes on exported products, RoadTEP, and PLI schemes provide export competitiveness but risk favoring larger firms over micro and small enterprises. SEZ revamp and dedicated MSME trade facilitation centers could lower export barriers, though past SEZ benefits have often been concentrated among large businesses. Improved logistics infrastructure aims to reduce costs, but execution speed and transparency in implementation will be key. A critical concern is, are these incentives enough to help MSMEs integrate into global value chains given rising global trade uncertainties? Fourth, driving innovation and sustainability. MSME Growth Accelerator Scheme supports high potential startups with financial grants and technical aid in emerging sectors like renewable energy and biotechnology. Low interest loans for energy efficient technology aligned with climate goals, but affordability concerns remains for small enterprises. The issue is, will MSMEs have sufficient access to R&D infrastructure and knowledge sharing platforms to truly leverage innovation? Next is the skilling and workforce development. Expansion of MSME skill development mission provides technical training in advanced manufacturing, digital literacy, and financial management. Collaboration with industry leaders ensures alignment with market needs, but past skilling programs have struggled with employment linkages. The key takeaways are financial access must be complemented with better credit literacy and streamlined disbursement mechanisms. Digital transformation and ease of doing business reforms need targeted outreach for smaller firms to benefit. Export incentives must be inclusive, ensuring that MSMEs beyond the large players gain access to global markets. Sustainability efforts require strong implementation frameworks and financial viability for micro enterprises. The budget lays a solid foundation for MSME growth, but its success depends on execution efficiency, equitable financial access, and sustained industry government collaboration. Investment is the third engine of growth. Is it driving growth or facing roadblocks? Investment remains a cornerstone of India's economic strategy, fueling infrastructure, industrial expansion, employment, and technological progress. The budget focuses on three key dimensions: investing in people, investing in the economy, and investing in innovation to create a sustainable and resilient growth model. The key investment reforms are first, investing in people, human capital development. Skill India Mission 2.0 expands vocational training in AI, robotics, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing, addressing industry relevant skills. Enhanced healthcare investments strengthen Ayushman Bharat, improve rural healthcare, and expand medical research, ensuring a healthier, more productive workforce. The critical concern is past skilling programs have faced challenges in employment linkages. Will this expansion ensure direct industry absorption of trained professionals? Next is investing in the economy, infrastructure, and industrial growth. Record capital expenditure drives large scale infrastructure projects, boosting transportation, energy grids, and digital connectivity. PPPs and infrastructure investment trusts aim to attract private sector funding, but past PPP models have suffered from slow approvals and financial risk sharing issues. PLI schemes expanded to cover additional sectors like electronics, green energy, and semiconductors, fostering large scale industrial investments. The critical concern is while capital spending drives growth, will the execution speed match expectations? How will the government ensure equitable regional infrastructure development? The investing in innovation, technology, and R&D advancement. The National Innovation Hubs and deep tech startup grants encourage R&D in quantum computing, biotechnology, and renewable energy. Green Investment Fund promotes clean energy projects, while tax incentives encourage industries to transition towards sustainable production models. The critical concern is India's R&D investment as a percentage of GDP remains low. Will this measures be sufficient to make India a global innovation leader? Now, the key takeaways are infrastructure development must align with execution capabilities to prevent delays and cost overruns. Efficient execution of infrastructure projects is crucial. Bureaucratic bottlenecks must be addressed. Skilling initiatives need better industry collaboration to ensure employment generation. Skill development must align with job market demands. Without industry collaboration, training programs risk irrelevance. Private sector investment must be incentivized. effectively through streamlined regulatory mechanisms, PPPs, and R&D funding, should prioritize ease of participation. Sustainability commitments should be backed by long-term policy stability to attract consistent green investments. Foreign investment in deep tech and green energy should be actively pursued. While the budget lays a strong foundation for investment-led growth, its success will depend on timely implementation, regulatory efficiency, and private sector confidence. Strategic execution of these schemes will determine whether India can truly leverage investments as a transformative engine for economic progress. Exports serve as a crucial driver of economic growth, fueling industrial expansion, foreign exchange reserves, and job creation. The budget introduces key reforms to enhance export competitiveness, trade facilitation, and global market integration. The key export reforms are: first, strengthening global competitiveness, expansion of PLI schemes to sectors like electronics, textiles, and pharmaceuticals, offering financial incentives to enhance production quality and scale. Tax exemptions and duty reliefs lower input costs, making Indian exports more price competitive globally. Enhanced export financing via increased funding to ECGC and preferential credit lines, mitigating financial risk for exports. The critical concern is, will these measures sufficiently support small and medium exporters, or will benefits remain concentrated among large corporations? Expanding trade facilitation and logistics infrastructure. Bharat TradeNet, a national digital trade platform, aims to streamline customs clearance and shipment tracking, reducing bureaucratic delays. Investment in port modernization, freight corridors, and multimodal logistics parks seeks to enhance supply chain efficiency. Strengthening free trade agreements will expand market access, but past agreements have yielded mixed results due to non-tariff barriers. Critical concern is, will improvement in logistics and trade policy address deep-rooted cost inefficiencies that hinder export competitiveness? Next is promoting services and digital exports. Incentives for IT-enabled services, fintech, healthcare, and education exports reinforce India's dominance in the digital economy. Startup Export Promotion Initiative provides funding and mentorship to Indian tech firms aiming for global expansion. Critical concern is, how can India maintain its competitive edge in IT services amid rising global competition and data protection challenges? Finally, sustainability and green trade initiatives. Green export incentives support eco-friendly industries like solar panels, electric vehicles, and sustainable textiles. Carbon footprint certification mechanisms help exporters comply with international sustainability standards and expanding market access. Support for organic agricultural products and handicrafts boosts rural livelihoods while tapping into niche global markets. The critical concern is, will these sustainability measures translate into tangible export growth, or will compliance costs deter participation? The key takeaways are: first, export policy reforms must balance inclusivity and effectiveness, ensuring benefits for both large and small exporters. Infrastructure investments should be backed by regulatory efficiency to maximize trade facilitation impacts. India's digital and service exports need continuous innovation and strong IP protection to remain globally competitive. Sustainable trade initiatives require clear long-term incentives to ensure adoption without burdening businesses. The budget lays a robust foundation for export-led growth, but its success will depend on effective execution, global trade conditions, and the ability to support small and mid-sized exporters. India's ambition to become a global trade powerhouse hinges on removing structural bottlenecks, enhancing competitiveness, and ensuring policy stability. The reforms as the fuel for growth. Economic reforms are the foundations of sustained growth, enhancing business efficiency, financial resilience, and global competitiveness. The budget outlines a transformative agenda focused on taxation, financial sector efficiency, regulatory frameworks, and digital governance. The key reform measures are first, tax reforms, simplification, and compliance enhancement, rationalized corporate tax structure to reduce compliance burdens, particularly for MSMEs, fostering entrepreneurship and investment. Automation and faceless tax assessments enhance transparency while minimizing bureaucratic inefficiencies and corruption. Tax incentives for startups, digital businesses, and green industries promote sectoral growth, but the long-term impact on revenue mobilization remains uncertain. The critical concern is, while simplification is necessary, how will the government balance tax rationalization with revenue sustainability? Next is financial sector reforms and development. Capital infusion into public sector banks and stronger NBFC frameworks aim to stabilize the financial sector and expand credit access. Digital banking expansion programs push for financial inclusion but must ensure accessibility in rural areas. Development finance institution funding bolsters infrastructure financing through private sector participation will be key to its success. The critical concern is, will these measures effectively address bad loan burdens and ensure efficient credit allocation? Next is regulatory reforms, strengthening the business ecosystem. Unified business identification number and expansion of the national single window system, streamlined regulatory approvals, improving the ease of doing business. Liberalized FDI norms in defense, retail, and renewable energy seek to attract global capital, but past FDI liberalization efforts have seen mixed investor confidence. Structural reforms in labor laws and land acquisition aim to enhance industrial efficiency, but execution and state level cooperation remain challenges. The critical concern is, will these reforms effectively reduce bureaucratic red tape and encourage sustained private investment? Finally, digital and governance reforms. AI-driven governance, blockchain-enabled supply chain tracking, and big data analytics improve policy implementation and service delivery. Expansion of India's tech and digital land record modernization, enhancing transparency, but requires cybersecurity and safeguards. E-courts and digital governance platforms reduce legal bottlenecks but need greater efficiency in execution. Critical concern is, can India's digital governance reforms bridge the gap between policy ambition and on-ground implementation? So the key takeaways are, tax reforms must balance ease of compliance with fiscal sustainability. Regulatory streamlining must ensure that ease of doing business translates into real investment growth. And digital governance efforts need robust cybersecurity measures to prevent systemic vulnerabilities. While the budget lays a strong foundation for reform driven growth, Success will depend on execution, efficiency, and investor confidence, and the ability to navigate structural challenges. India's transformation into a modern, resilient economy will hinge on how well these reforms translate into tangible improvement across sectors. Now, coming to fiscal prudence and tax reforms, one of the most defining aspects of the budget is its adherence to fiscal consolidation roadmap, as evidenced by the gradual reduction in fiscal deficit from a high of 9.2% of GDP in 2021 to the targeted 4.4% in 25-26. Simultaneously, public debt as a percentage of GDP is expected to decline from 60.7% in 2021 to 55.1% in 25-26, demonstrating the government's commitment to financial discipline. This reduction in debt and deficit is critical for maintaining India's sovereign credit ratings, reducing the risk of inflationary pressures, and preserving fiscal space for future contingencies. Despite this disciplined approach, the challenge remains in ensuring that economic growth does not suffer due to fiscal tightening. The government's ability to sustain public investment while managing expenditure efficiently will be crucial in maintaining economic momentum. A key highlight of the budget is the significant relief provided to taxpayers through changes in personal income tax slabs. The government has increased the tax exemption threshold from 7 lakh rupees to 12 lakh rupees, providing relief to millions of middle class earners. Additionally, the government has introduced lower tax rates for higher income brackets, which is expected to increase disposable income, enhance household savings, and stimulate domestic consumption across sectors such as automobiles, real estate, and consumer goods. The tax relief measures, however, come at a cost. The government is expected to forego approximately 1 trillion rupees in revenue annually due to these tax cuts. Therefore, the growth of income tax is expected to decline to 14.4% in 25-26 from 20.3% in 24-25. To balance this shortfall, the government is relying on stable growth in indirect tax collections, particularly from the GST, along with improved compliance measures. On the corporate taxation front, the government has projected an increase in corporate tax collections by 10.4% in 25-26 compared to 7.6% in the previous year. This signals a revival in business profitability and economic expansion. At the same time, GST collections are expected to remain steady at a growth rate of 10.9%, indicating a continued reliance on indirect taxes as a key revenue source. The stability of these revenue streams will be critical for funding government programs and maintaining fiscal discipline. Although the budget continues to focus on infrastructure-led growth, there has been a slowdown in the allocation, in capital allocation. Between 2021 and 25-26, the government of India's capital expenditure has risen consistently from 4.3 trillion rupees to a budgeted 11.2 trillion, reflecting a CAGR of approximately 21%. While the initial years witnessed robust growth, 37.2% in 21-22 and 28.4% in 23-24, recent projections indicate a slowdown, with capex growth moderating to 7.2% in 24-25, revised estimate, and 10.1% in 25-26 budget estimate. This trend suggests a shift towards fiscal prudence while sustaining infrastructure investment. The budget also prioritizes consumption-led growth through substantial personal tax cuts to enhance disposable income. Furthermore, 1.5 trillion rupees in interest-free loans to states aims to promote decentralized infrastructure development. While government continues to drive capital investment, Achieving higher and more sustained growth will require greater private sector participation alongside public expenditure. The government is prioritizing investment in transportation infrastructure, including railways, highways, and metro projects, to enhance connectivity and reduce logistic costs. Additionally, substantial allocations have been made for the modernization of energy sector, particularly in renewable energy and power transmission networks, to ensure a sustainable and resilient energy future for India. Furthermore, the government is investing in urban infrastructure through the Smart Cities mission, with a focus on sustainable urban development and improved public amenities. However, despite these positive developments, the rate of increase in capital expenditure has slowed down compared to previous years, indicating budgetary constraints in expanding infrastructure investment at a faster pace. Now, revenue expenditure to capital expenditure ratio uh, has declined from 7.2% in 2021 to 3.5 times in 2025-26. This shift suggests an improvement in the quality of government spending as more funds are being directed towards infrastructure and asset creation rather than routine administrative costs. However, the pace of this improvement has slowed compared to earlier years. Now, revenue from dividends and profits received by Government of India. Government of India expects revenue from dividend and profits transferred to increase from 2.9 trillion rupees in 24-25 to 3.3 trillion rupees in 25-26, projecting a growing reliance on non-tax revenues. This trend has helped manage the fiscal deficit without aggressive tax hikes. Over the years, revenue from public sector enterprises, the RBI, and state-owned financial institutions has shown a steady rise with notable surges in 24-25 and 25-26. The increase is attributed to higher surplus transfers from RBI, driven by strong forex gains and interest earnings, as well as improved profitability in banking, oil, and energy sectors. Additionally, strategic disinvestment and asset monetization have bolstered non-tax revenues. This revenue stream plays a crucial role in fiscal consolidation, reducing borrowing needs and supporting a projected fiscal deficit decline to 4.4% of GDP in 25-26. However, sustainability concerns remain as future revenue depends on RBI earnings, global economic conditions, and public sector profitability. To maintain fiscal stability, the government must ensure efficient public sector performance, prudent management of RBI surpluses, and a diversified revenue approach. Now, stagnant allocation to key agriculture and rural development schemes is a matter of concern. Allocations to major rural welfare schemes such as PM Kisan and MGNREGS have remained largely unchanged, raising concerns about the government's commitment to improving rural livelihoods. The stagnation in funding for these schemes may impact rural employment generation and income support for farmers, potentially slowing down overall rural economic growth. However, it is important to note that the allocation for schemes like MGNREGS is demand driven, meaning that any rise in demand leads to a corresponding increase in budgetary allocation. Similarly, social sector spending is also an area of concern. Despite the focus on fiscal consolidation and growing allocations to key social sectors such as education, healthcare, and rural development remain subdued, the budget has increased education spending marginally from 2.42% to 2.54% of total budget, which may not be sufficient to address challenges in higher education access and digital infrastructure in schools. Similarly, healthcare spending has risen only slightly from 1.91% to 1.97%, which remains inadequate given India's need to strengthen public healthcare infrastructure and preparedness for future crisis. Do these reforms address India's economic bottlenecks? The Union Budget 25-26 offers a strong reform oriented approach, but execution remains key. Factors which could address India's economic bottlenecks are efficient implementation of tax and compliance reforms, reducing bureaucratic inefficiencies, ensuring financial sector resilience, particularly in banking and NBFC regulations, greater clarity on fiscal sustainability, ensuring capex spending does not escalate debt risks, stronger incentives for private investment, ensuring PPP models succeed where past efforts have stalled. The challenges which need to be addressed are past reforms have faced delays. Will these policies be implemented effectively? Removing bureaucratic hurdles is of critical importance for efficient and effective implementation of the reforms. Global macroeconomic uncertainty impacts investor confidence in India's reform agenda, and balancing taxation relief with fiscal discipline remains a tough policy challenge. A strong reform agenda, but execution risks remain. While these reforms lay a solid foundation, India's ability to translate policy into action will determine its success. Without strong governance, institutional capacity building, and private sector collaboration, the benefits of these reforms could remain limited. By balancing spending with revenue generation, the budget ensures macroeconomic stability while fostering economic momentum. The Union Budget 25-26 is pragmatic, but does it break new ground? The government is banking on four engines: agriculture, MSMEs, investment, and exports. However, the key risks remain: execution gaps in agriculture, MSMEs infrastructure projects, slow private sector response to investment incentives, and global uncertainties impacting trade and inflation. The budget provides a roadmap, but its success depends on execution. Will these policies drive transformation or remain aspirational? The coming months will tell. Thank you for tuning in to Inspire Economic Edge. Stay informed, stay inspired. See you in the next episode.